Good afternoon, members of the Congress of the United Nations. My name is Abdel Khalik Al-Tounin and I'm here to talk about the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Although I am from one of these two countries, I do not support any of these nations because both sides have done terrible and inhuman things. I'm here to create awareness about this problem and together we can give a real solution. To start, let's stay when this conflict started and where it is located. This conflict is located at the northeast of Egypt and at the east of the Mediterranean Sea. It started in May 14, 1948, when the United Nations declared the State of Israel after the Second World War as a compensation to the Jews that suffered in that war. Let's talk about the Intifadas. This term is an Arabic word derived from a verb meaning to shake off, and it is used to describe the two major uprisings against Israeli military occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. What differentiates a common conflict and an intifada is the mass support of Palestinians across villages, towns, as well as across social divisions. One was the Intifada of the Stones, which exploded in 1987, which prolonged until the Conference of Madrid. This fight left 1,162 Palestinians and 160 Israelis dead. The next one was the Intifada of the Al-Aqsa. This one started when the First Minister of Israel, Ariel Sharon, went to the Mosque of Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem in the year 2000. This one was more violent because it included more powerful weapons, suicide attacks, and terrorist activities. Let's talk about the most important battles that have happened in this conflict. The first one is the Six-Day War. It took place in June 1967, between the 5th and the 10th of the same month. This war was initiated by General Moshe Dayan, the Israeli defense minister, and it was against Syria, Jordan, Egypt, and Iraq, only because they believed these three countries were planning an attack to Israel because of the mobilization of the troops. But only in 6 days Israel was capable of defeating four of the stronger Arab nations. This had a huge impact in the morale of the Arabs because of how a military disaster this was to them. Also, they lost very important territories because of their strategic value, like the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Another important war that happened a year after the 6 Days War was the Attrition War. This one was initiated by Egypt. Both sides intended the war to weaken the other as much as possible in hopes of gaining advantages in subsequent negotiations. Egypt, in particular, sought to regain territory it had lost in 1967. Egypt's leader, Gamal Abdel Nasser, calculated that by waging a low-grade war on Israel over territory belonging to Egypt, international pressure would force Israel to withdraw. Nasser was also intent on redressing the humiliation he and Egypt had suffered in the 1967 war, but after 2 years of hostilities on April 23, 1970, Abdel Nasser agreed to a 3-month ceasefire. This ceasefire was known as the Rogers Plan, after its Nixon administration architect, U.S. Secretary of State William P. Rogers. The plan called for an end to attacks and a United Nations mediated peace process. Finally, we have the Yom Kippur War, or October War, which happened in 1973. It began the Day of the Atonement, or Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day of prayer and fasting in the Jewish calendar. It started with a surprise Arab attack by Syria and Egypt with high armory on Israel on Saturday, 6 October 1973, which was with the knowledge that the forces of Israel will be temporarily dropped. During 2 days, the Israeli army was overwhelmed, but after that they used the reserve to overcome the rivals. Until October 24, when the UN sent their own peacemakers to control the conflict, and a year later, Egypt and Israel signed an interim agreement which declared their willingness to settle the difference by peaceful means rather than by military. I have made a summary of the most important international actors that participate in this conflict. First, we have the PLO, or the Palestine Liberation Organization. Created in 1964, by 1967 the United Nations declared it as the main representative of the Palestinian people, and their main goal was the liberation of Palestine through armed struggle. At first, it was considered a terrorist group, but after the Madrid Conference, where they recognized the right of Israel to live in peace and rejected violence and terrorism, they turned to a non-governmental organization. The next is Yasser Arafat. Since 1969, Arafat was named leader of the PLO. In 1974, he was the first representative of a non-governmental organization to talk here in the United Nations. His main objective was to get the independence of Palestine. There's a debate about who was Yasser truly. Some say that he was a great politician that served to his country, but others believe that he was just another terrorist. He died in 2004. Now we are going to talk about the terrorist groups. Hamas, formed in 1987 as a cause of the First Intifada, it supports Palestine and its forces are concentrated in the Gaza Strip and areas of the West Bank. They have attacked civilians and military in very important cities of Israel like Tel Aviv and Haifa. The rocket launches have been considered war crimes and crimes against humanity. It has a strong impact in the politics of Palestine. The next one is Hezbollah. Formed in 1982, its leader is Hassan Nasrallah. Syria and Iran are their main allies. Their purposes are the destruction of the state of Israel, the expulsion of the Israeli people from Lebanon, and the creation of an Islamic State. They have attacked several times the territory of Israel. Now we are going to talk about the military of Israel. The Israel Defense Forces was founded shortly after the State of Israel was established in 1948. It ranks among the most battle-tested and highly trained armed forces in the world, as we have seen in previous battles. Their main objectives are to defend the existing territorial integrity and sovereignty of the State of Israel. Next we are going to talk about Benjamin Netanyahu. He is the Prime Minister of Israel since 2009 and he has searched for peace between these two states. An important phrase he said was, "If we get a guarantee of the militarization of the Palestinians recognize Israel as the Jewish state, we are ready to agree to a real peace agreement, a demilitarized Palestinian state side by side with the Jewish state." Then the Arab League. This is an intergovernmental organization formed by Arab-speaking countries. This means it is in favor of Palestine and has helped them with weapons, resources, and support. Finally, we have the Palestinian National Authority. This is an administrative entity in charge of the education, utilities, and health of the Palestinian people, although it has nothing to do with the foreign contact. It was founded in 1994 following the Oslo Accords between Israel and the Palestinian Liberation Organization, or the PLO. I would like to conclude with actual information about this conflict. United States has helped Israel along the war, and the Arab League is with Palestine, so we have two main groups fighting. But because of this conflict has affected interests of the international community and the USA due to its impact on the global economic stability and security in relation to global oil demands and needs, the United States and the international community have made attempts in recent years to broker a solution to the conflict. The last solution proposed was a ceasefire, but this isn't a final solution. I agree with the words of the Prime Minister of Israel. Unless Palestinians stop their military campaign and the US accept Palestine as a state, then a real peace agreement can be made. Thanks.